Let me tell you about Margaret. She is 73 years old and lives in Tampa, Florida. She worked as a nurse for 42 years before retiring in 2019. Her Social Security checks were her main source of income, and everything seemed fine for years. She was receiving $2,184 every single month. One morning in October 2025, Margaret opened a letter from the Social Security Administration. The letter stated she'd been overpaid by $11,250 over the past 3 years. They demanded full repayment within 60 days, or they'd start withholding her entire monthly check. Her voice cracked when she called her daughter that afternoon. She couldn't understand how this happened because she never asked for extra money. She immediately called the SSA office, but the automated system kept disconnecting her call. Margaret spent the next 2 weeks trying to reach a real person at Social Security. When she finally got through, the representative told her the overpayment was caused by unreported income from 2022. Margaret explained she only worked part-time for 4 months that year, earning just $4,800 total. The representative said it didn't matter because she hadn't reported it properly. They gave her 3 options: pay it all back immediately, set up a payment plan, or appeal the decision. Margaret didn't have $11,250 in savings. The thought of losing her entire monthly check made her lose sleep for days. Margaret's daughter helped her file an appeal within the 30-day deadline. They requested a waiver based on financial hardship and the fact that Margaret didn't intentionally cause the overpayment. They submitted bank statements, medical bills, and a detailed letter explaining her situation. After 4 months of waiting, Social Security approved her waiver, and she didn't have to pay back a single dollar. She called me last month and said filing that appeal saved her from financial disaster. This isn't just Margaret's story. Right now, the Social Security Administration is recovering overpayments more aggressively than ever before. They sent out over 1.2 million overpayment notices last year alone. Most people don't know they have rights and options when this happens. Let me tell you about James. He is 68 years old and lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He retired from his job as an electrician in 2021 after 38 years. He started collecting Social Security at age 66, receiving $2,156 per month. His wife also received spousal benefits of $1,228 monthly. In March 2025, James received a letter saying he owed $6,890 due to an administrative error. The letter said Social Security had miscalculated his benefit amount when he first applied. They'd been overpaying him by $172 every month for over 3 years. James was furious because this wasn't his mistake. He called the local SSA office and spoke to a representative who confirmed the error was on their end. Despite admitting fault, they still demanded repayment in full. James asked if he could appeal, and the representative said yes, but she made it sound like it wouldn't make a difference. James didn't appeal because he thought it was pointless. Instead, he agreed to a payment plan of $250 per month. For the next 28 months, his Social Security check dropped from $2,456 to $2,306. That $250 monthly reduction meant he had to cut back on his prescriptions. He stopped going to his favorite diner every week. His wife had to delay dental work she desperately needed. James told me 6 months ago that he wishes he'd fought harder because now he understands he probably qualified for a waiver. He can't get that money back now. Here's what makes me angry about James's situation. Social Security representatives are supposed to tell you about all your options, including waivers. Many of them don't because they're overworked and undertrained. They process these cases as quickly as possible without fully explaining your rights. That means thousands of seniors are paying money back when they could have gotten the debt completely forgiven. Now listen carefully to this part. You have 3 main defenses when Social Security demands money back. The first defense is proving the overpayment never actually happened. The second defense is proving you're not at fault for the overpayment. The third defense is proving repayment would cause you financial hardship. Any one of these defenses can completely eliminate your debt. Let me tell you about Helen. She is 74 years old and lives in Atlanta, Georgia. She worked as a school secretary for 36 years before retiring in 2018. She's been receiving Social Security disability benefits since 2020 after a car accident left her with chronic back pain. Her monthly benefit was $1,847. Last summer, Helen got a letter claiming she owed $14,520 for benefits she wasn't entitled to receive. The letter said she'd returned to work in 2022 and failed to report her earnings. Helen was shocked because she hasn't worked since her accident. Her hands trembled as she reread the letter 5 times. She couldn't figure out where this information came from because it was completely false. She called Social Security immediately, but the wait time was over 2 hours. When she finally got through, the representative said their records showed W-2 income under her Social Security number. Helen insisted it wasn't her, but the representative said she needed to prove it. Helen's nephew helped her request her earnings record from Social Security. When it arrived 3 weeks later, they discovered someone had fraudulently used her Social Security number. The W-2 income belonged to a woman in California with the same name. Helen filed a police report for identity theft and submitted it to Social Security along with a detailed appeal. She also requested an in-person hearing to explain everything directly to a judge. Social Security initially denied her appeal through the mail, but at her hearing 6 months later, the judge reviewed all the evidence and immediately dismissed the entire debt. Helen didn't owe a single penny. Helen's case shows why you should never just accept what Social Security claims you owe. Their systems make mistakes all the time. Sometimes it's a computer error, sometimes it's fraud, sometimes it's just bad record keeping. You have the right to challenge their claims and demand proof. Don't let them intimidate you into paying something you don't actually owe. Quick question before we continue. What state are you in? I need you to comment your state name right now. The rules I'm covering change by state, and I read every single comment. Plus, your comment helps other people in your state find this video. Drop your state in the comments right now. Let me explain the waiver process, because this is your most powerful tool. When you request a waiver, you're asking Social Security to forgive the debt completely. You don't have to pay it back at all. To qualify for a waiver, you need to prove 2 things. First, the overpayment wasn't your fault. Second, paying it back would create financial hardship for you. Here's what Social Security considers not your fault. If they made a calculation error, that's not your fault. If you reported your income but they processed it wrong, that's not your fault. If their instructions were confusing and you made an honest mistake, that's not your fault. If you reasonably relied on what they told you, that's not your fault. Most overpayments fall into one of these categories. Here's what counts as financial hardship. If repaying would mean you can't afford food, that's hardship. If it would mean you can't pay rent or mortgage, that's hardship. If you'd have to skip medications or medical care, that's hardship. If you'd lose your car or utilities, that's hardship. You don't have to be completely broke to qualify. You just have to show that repayment would genuinely hurt your ability to cover basic necessities. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She is 69 years old and lives in Dallas, Texas. She retired from her job at a library in 2020 after 34 years. She started collecting Social Security retirement benefits at age 66, receiving $1,223 per month. Her husband passed away in 2023, and she switched to widow's benefits of $2,511 monthly. In January 2026, Dorothy received a letter saying she owed $9,180 because she'd collected both her retirement benefit and widow's benefit simultaneously for 4 months. The letter explained she should have reported her husband's death immediately so they could stop one benefit. Dorothy was devastated because she'd been grieving and honestly didn't understand the rules about switching benefits. She called Social Security crying, explaining she was still paying off her husband's funeral costs of $8,400. The representative told her she could request a waiver, but made it sound complicated. Dorothy felt overwhelmed and didn't know where to start. Dorothy's pastor connected her with a legal aid office that helps seniors with Social Security issues. An attorney helped her complete the waiver request form, which is called Form SSA 632. They attached 3 months of bank statements showing her income and expenses. They included copies of her mortgage statement, utility bills, prescription receipts, and the funeral home invoice. They wrote a 2-page letter explaining how Dorothy didn't understand she needed to report the benefit change and how repayment would force her to choose between her mortgage and her medications. They submitted everything within 30 days of receiving the overpayment notice. 4 months later, Social Security approved Dorothy's waiver in full. She didn't have to repay the $9,180. She still receives her full widow's benefit of $2,511 every month. Dorothy told me that getting help from the legal aid attorney made all the difference because she didn't know what evidence to include or how to explain her situation properly. This is where it gets serious. Social Security gives you only 30 days to request an appeal or waiver from the date on their letter, not from when you received it, from the date printed on the letter itself. If you miss that 30-day deadline, they can start withholding your benefits immediately. They can take your entire monthly check until the debt is paid off. They can also take your tax refunds. Don't let that deadline pass. If this information is helping you right now, I need you to do something. Hit the like button on this video. Here's why that matters. The more likes this gets, the more YouTube shows it to other people who need this information. It takes literally 2 seconds. Do it right now while you're thinking about it. Let me tell you about William. He is 72 years old and lives in Denver, Colorado. He worked as a mechanic for 44 years before retiring in 2021. He receives Social Security retirement benefits of $2,634 per month. He also receives a small pension of $487 monthly from his former employer. In September 2025, William got a letter saying he owed $7,520 because his pension affected his Social Security benefit calculation. The letter said he should have reported his pension amount when he applied for Social Security. William was confused because he definitely remembered telling them about his pension during his application appointment. He even brought the pension paperwork with him that day. The overpayment notice gave him 30 days to respond. William put the letter on his kitchen counter, planning to deal with it the next week. Life got busy. His grandson got sick. His car broke down. Before he knew it, 35 days had passed. When William finally called Social Security, they told him his appeal deadline had passed. They said they'd already started the process to withhold $500 from his monthly check. William explained he'd reported the pension from the beginning, but they said it didn't matter now. Without an appeal, he had no way to challenge their claim. For the next 16 months, William's Social Security check dropped from $2,634 to $12,134. That $500 monthly reduction meant he burned through his emergency savings of $6,200. He had to borrow $2,800 from his daughter to cover property taxes. He's now 73 years old with almost no savings left because he missed a deadline. William's story is a warning. The 30-day deadline is absolutely critical. If you get an overpayment notice, you must act within 30 days. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't assume you'll remember. Handle it immediately. Even if you're not sure what to do, at least file something within those 30 days to protect your rights. Here's what they don't tell you. You can request your appeal hearing be done by phone or video instead of in person. You can bring a representative with you, like an attorney or family member. You can submit written statements instead of testifying if you're nervous. You can request more time to gather evidence if you need it. You have way more options than most people realize. Now here's the good news. There are free resources to help you fight these overpayment demands. Every state has a legal aid office that helps low-income seniors with Social Security problems. Many areas have senior law centers that provide free consultations. Your local area agency on aging can connect you with benefits counselors who understand Social Security rules. You don't have to figure this out alone. Help is available. Let me tell you about Linda. She is 70 years old and lives in Portland, Oregon. She worked as a teacher for 39 years before retiring in 2022. She receives Social Security retirement benefits of $2,378 per month. She also worked part-time at a bookstore for 6 months in 2024, earning $5,400 total. In December 2025, Linda received an overpayment notice for $3,640. The letter said she'd earned too much money while collecting early retirement benefits. Linda knew she'd reported her bookstore income on her tax return, but she wasn't sure if she'd notified Social Security directly. The letter gave her 3 options: pay it all back immediately, set up a payment plan, or request a waiver. Linda didn't want to drain her savings account, which only had $8,100 in it. She decided to request a waiver based on financial hardship. Linda filled out Form SSA 632 herself, without any help. She checked the boxes indicating the overpayment wasn't her fault and repayment would cause hardship, but she didn't include any supporting documents. She didn't attach bank statements or bills. She didn't write a detailed letter explaining her situation. She just mailed in the form by itself. 3 months later, Social Security denied her waiver request. The denial letter said she failed to provide sufficient evidence of financial hardship. By then, Linda had missed the deadline to appeal the denial. She ended up paying back the full $3,640 through a payment plan of $303 per month for 12 months. Linda's mistake was not including evidence with her waiver request. Social Security doesn't just take your word for it. They want proof. You need to show them your bank statements, your monthly bills, your medical expenses, everything. The more documentation you provide, the better your chances. Don't make Linda's mistake. Give them overwhelming evidence that you can't afford to pay. Wait, there's something else you need to know. Social Security has a program called Compromise and Settlement for overpayments over $100,000. They also have an installment agreement option that lets you pay as little as $10 per month if you're truly broke. These options exist, but they don't advertise them. You have to specifically ask for them. Don't let them bully you into an unaffordable payment plan. Think about someone you know who needs to hear this. Your mom, your dad, your neighbor, your friend from church, someone who could lose money if they don't know what I just explained. Share this video with them right now. Copy the link, text it to them, email it, however you communicate. Do it now before you forget. This information is too important to keep to yourself. Here's exactly what you need to do right now. I'm going to give you 5 steps. Each one is simple and specific. You don't have to do everything today, but you need to start with step 1 this week. Write these down or save this video. Ready? Let's go through them. Step 1. If you receive an overpayment notice, immediately mark your calendar for 30 days from the date on the letter. This is your deadline to file an appeal or waiver request. Set multiple reminders on your phone for day 15, day 20, and day 25. Don't rely on your memory because stress makes you forget things. Missing this deadline means you lose your right to challenge the overpayment. Do this today, not tomorrow. Write the date down right now if you have a letter. Step 2. Request your complete Social Security file using Form SSA 705 though, which is called a Freedom of Information Act request. You can download this form from SSA.gov or call 1-800-772-1213 to have them mail it to you. This file contains every document Social Security has about you, including notes from phone calls and applications. Review it carefully to find any errors or proof that you reported information they claim you didn't. This request is free, and they must respond within 30 days. Mail it to your local Social Security office address, which you can find on SSA.gov. Step 3. Fill out Form SSA 632 to request a waiver if you can't afford repayment. Answer every question completely and attach at least 3 months of bank statements. Include copies of all your monthly bills like rent, mortgage, utilities, insurance, prescriptions, and food expenses. Write a detailed letter explaining why the overpayment wasn't your fault and exactly how repayment would hurt you financially. Use specific dollar amounts and be honest about your situation. Submit this form within 30 days of receiving the overpayment notice. Keep copies of everything you send. Step 4. Contact your local legal aid office or area agency on aging for free help. Search online for legal aid plus your county name or call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1196. Tell them you received a Social Security overpayment notice and need help filing an appeal or waiver. They can review your case, help you gather evidence, and even represent you at a hearing. Many seniors qualify for free legal services based on income. Don't pay a private attorney until you've checked these free resources first. Call them this week. Step 5. If Social Security denies your waiver, immediately request a hearing before an administrative law judge. You have 60 days from the denial date to request this hearing. Use Form HA 501, which you can get from SSA.gov or your local office. At the hearing, you'll explain your situation directly to a judge who has the power to completely forgive your debt. Bring all your evidence, bills, and any witnesses who can support your case. Judges overturn Social Security denials all the time because they actually listen to your story. Don't give up after the first denial. Request the hearing. Let me recap what we just covered. Social Security is aggressively demanding overpayment returns, and thousands of seniors are getting these letters every single month. You could be facing demands for $3,000 to $15,000 or more. You now know that you have 3 main defenses: proving the overpayment didn't happen, proving it wasn't your fault, or proving repayment causes hardship. Over 1.2 million people received these notices last year. You have a 30-day deadline to act from the date on the letter, not from when you receive it. You now have information that could save you thousands of dollars or protect you from losing your monthly benefits. Don't waste it. Remember Robert from the beginning? After he filed a waiver with complete financial documentation, Social Security forgave his entire $8,347 debt. He called me 2 weeks ago and said fighting back was the smartest thing he did all year. You can do the exact same thing. The only difference between you and him is that he acted immediately. He didn't wait. He didn't hope it would go away. He fought back with the information I just gave you. If this video helped you, here's what I need you to do. First, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next urgent update about Social Security, Medicare, or benefits. Second, share this with someone you care about, someone who needs this information. Third, leave a comment telling me your state or your situation. I read every comment and I try to respond to as many as possible. Your comment also helps other people find this video when they're searching for help. One more thing, this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice, financial advice, or tax advice. I'm sharing general information about Social Security overpayment procedures, but every situation is different and rules can vary. Before you make any decisions based on what you heard here, please consult with licensed professionals like Social Security attorneys, benefits counselors, or legal aid offices who can look at your specific case. What works for one person may not work for another.